Hello, warriors, and welcome back to Spartan Downunder. Today, we are joined on the mic by a force to be reckoned with and the queen of the trifecta, Yara Alves. Yara, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Oh, hello, Australia. I am yada yada yada, and I am from California. I attempted and succeeded in breaking the world trifecta record last year, and I ended up with 40 trifectas. So yes, I guess that's a introduction in a nutshell.
No, I love it. And obviously, you've done so much with Spartan since you started. How did you actually, though, get your start with Spartan, and what keeps you coming back for more?
That's a great question. So in 2016, I had a friend named Shannon who met me at 24 Hour Fitness, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I did this race and it was awesome, and you should do it." And I looked at her right there and said, I'm not a runner and I'm definitely not paying to race. Are you crazy? And she goes, No, no, no. There's obstacles and you climb things and it's not just running. And then you get this medal. And she had a super medal and she proceeded to explain this trifecta. And she said, I think you would love it and you would be good at it. Please just do the 10K and then you and I can do the 5K and the 21K. And I looked at her like, whoa, girl, like, whoa, I don't even run a mile. Like, are you crazy? And so she told me all about Spartan, and I went home, Googled it, and I went down a complete rabbit hole. I read about the Agogis, I read about the ultras, I read about this whole endurance side of these hurricane heats. And so the next week we met at the gym and she said, Oh, so what do you think? And I was like, Oh my gosh, girl, this is like a whole nother world. So she didn't even know about the other side of Spartan. So we kind of said, All right, I will go do the super. We'll do this trifecta. And then let's check out this, hurricane heat stuff. And that's where it started. I did my first 10K in 2016 in Las Vegas, and I did top 10 in my age group. It was open, but I did all my burpees and everything. And I almost cried at the finish line. I was overwhelmed. I was like, did I? Back then, it wasn't 6 miles. It was 8, 9, 10 mile
Yeah,
supers.
yeah.
So I was really proud of myself, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And then that year, I ended up with two, and only because you don't get the times two or the trifecta medal unless you do two trifectas, right? That's where they got me. So we went ahead and did another trifecta, and then in 2017 in January I entered a code for a chance to win a season pass, and I ended up winning the season pass, and that's where my whole journey completely started with Spartan, and I tried everything under the bus.
That's a fantastic way to get into Spartan and be able to try all of the different aspects. You said the hurricane heat, the sprint, and the super. Does that help you in your day to day? I mean, does that help you define who you are? What does drive you on a daily basis?
Yes, Spartan really opened up another part of me that I didn't know that I had. Being small, you're kind of told you're too small for this, or that's too heavy for you, or you shouldn't maybe do this and be careful. And so you kind of grow up with that mentality. Not that my parents ever, it's just other people. My parents always supported us and said, go get it, and, whatnot. But my first hurricane heat, I was completely shocked at what I did. And then I tried the 12 hour with Master Cha and Kyo. And yeah, I cried in the middle of it in the desert alone, carrying pavers that I duct taped handles to, carrying a pack with all this weight, trying to do these time hacks and next to these guys that are humongous. And I'm like, how am I going to beat them? And just finishing that really turned this knob inside me that said, I can do this. And it taught me not to be afraid to try. It's okay to fail. It's okay not to complete something. It's what you learn during the process. And in day-to-day life, that's huge. If you're raised or at least have the capability of thinking like that, you'll go way further in life, whether it's at home, in your personal life, or even in the workforce. So, I mean, it really, really helped push that button and get me going.
That's amazing. That's I think what I hear from everyone, and excites me so much about. I will be participating in my first event in June. How much it impacts just your uh, your knowledge of what you're actually capable of doing, which is insane. Because I mean, already just in the training that I've very basically done, I'm already like, oh, I didn't know that I was able to do that. That's crazy. So it's so great to hear that that's how much it's opened up for you.
Oh yeah, and I tell people that all the time. Don't judge, don't look at the obstacles right away and think, "Oh, I can't climb a wall. I can't carry a 40-pound, 60-pound sandbag." Well, how do you know? Like, have you tried it? So yeah, it really, yeah, it's a beautiful feeling to be able to do something you never thought you could and then accomplishment. It really sets the tone for you to want to try more and do better and be better.
That's probably really good advice for any of our first time racers. And as Tori said, she's getting ready to kick off her first race in just a few months. So, I mean, for Tori and anyone that's starting out, what would you say is some good advice on just how to prepare for your first race?
Yeah, I mean, preparation is different for everybody. And you kind of get the feeling of what you already know you might be good at and might not be good at. The beautiful thing with starting the Spartan and doing open is you don't have to run the entire time. So you don't need to be a good runner. You just want to try to keep pace and do your best. Don't be afraid to try the obstacles, and it's okay to ask for help. You're never going to know whether or not you can or can't do it unless you try it. And you have to get over that fear of, some people have fear of heights. My biggest thing that was huge for me, I think it was 2018, I believe. Um, I was doing my one of my birthday races, sprint, and we had a whole group of us dressed as minions, and we were one of the last groups to finish. And the volunteers at the water station says, "Serena Williams is behind you," and we were like, "What?" And they were like, "Be careful, you can't, stay away, she's got bodyguards, da 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 da." We're like, "Oh, okay." So there we were on the A-frame. Here comes Serena Williams, and she was, having a little bit of a moment up on the top. um, you would never think that a woman so strong and so powerful and so, like, you look at Serena Williams, you're just like, yeah. And to see her in that moment really made her a real person. And we guided her and we helped her over the A-frame. And then when she got to the bottom, she said, "Thank you so much." And then I had to ask them, "Well, can we get a picture?" So we took a picture with Serena Williams in the front of the A-frame with us dressed as minions. And it was her first, she had just had her baby. So I just saw a post saying that she's looking at doing it again. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was there at her first race." So, I mean, it's beautiful. And to see, even though you're afraid of heights or you're afraid of, let's say, going underwater for the dunk wall, it's the race, but it's also the people around you, the community, the camaraderie that really helps you get through it. You could do the race alone, and by the end of the race, you'll have 20 people that you've met along the way that gave you advice on this obstacle or helped you with this one. And so I tell everybody, you don't need to go with a group. You can just show up. And as long as you ask for help, or all you have to say is, it's my first race, and you're going to have 50 people trying to help you and guide you. So it's the community, it's the camaraderie, it's you can't, it's awesome. That's what kept me coming back. And that would be my advice, is just try it all, ask, make friends, and don't be afraid. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal advice, I think, and it's something I feel like, especially um, as someone that's femme presenting, it can feel hard to ask for help as well, because you want to just be like, no, I'm strong and I'm independent, I don't need any help. But almost immediately, as soon as I started my training, I asked my dad, Bull. I was like, I actually have no idea what I need to be doing. Please help me. Because even like looking online, there is so much information you can find online, but it can also then be a bit
Overwhelming.
overwhelming. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know where to start. I think also like the advice of, you don't have to run, because for me, I have hypermobility syndrome, so running for me is just painful, and I
Yeah.
want to be able to do this and enjoy doing it. So I was like, what can I actually do that's going to mean that I get the most out of this, and not only that, but I actually enjoy doing it as well.
And that's a good point. And telling people, no matter your injury, no matter your capability, you just do you. And don't feel pressured about what everyone else is doing around you. You do your own race. Don't compare yourself. Don't do any of that. You just do you, and you'll finish and you'll be fine.
Obviously, it is fantastic advice, and as someone who has spent just so much of your time over the past many years jumping from race to race and working, how do you actually like to spend your downtime in between events and working, just the time that you just get to kind of live your life?
Yes, I've had a lot going on, and Spartan became my outlet. I jumped back in 2020 during COVID, when I almost lost my two businesses. And it was COVID that kind of got me to take a deep breath, relax, and kind of get back into me and my why. And yeah, so Spartan is my outlet. It's my happy. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about everything going on in my life. I'm out there, I'm running, and I'm just enjoying myself and the people. So during the week, I mean, I hit the ground running with the two businesses. I've been very blessed the last 2 years, where I have learned to let go, and I've allowed my managers to take m- more of a lead. It's really hard, like you said, when you're independent, and these businesses are my baby. So Spartan also allowed me to learn to let go. So that was kind of a blessing, because it taught me that I don't need to be at work and stress 24/7. Like, I have a life, and it's okay to have a life. I worked hard for the businesses, and it's been 15, 16 years. I deserve some me time, and you know, let's pass on the work to people that I'm paying to do it anyway, and be more of a boss. So yeah, during the week I catch up on things, and I do Pilates to maintain flexibility and all that stuff. And then I try to squeeze in the races when I can.
What got you into, I mean, a young entrepreneur, what got you into wanting to actually set up and run two businesses?
This is a good one. Um, I went to school to be a teacher, a high school PE teacher. My master's was kines, with a minor in gerokines, the study of aging and the body. I figured that with the baby boomers coming up, that would be a great minor. And when I got my master's degree, I was too expensive to hire at the high school. So I was a long-term sub, and then I was coaching cheerleading, and I did it for about 2 years. And it was like, I graduated with my master's. Now I'm too expensive. So then I started my doctorates. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm spending a lot of money on education. And in the meantime, I'm bartending and I'm running a business for somebody else. So what if I were to do this on my own?
Yeah.
And that's where the idea came. And I did some homework and I bought my first pub when I was 28. And I left the bar I was at. And then fast forward 10 years later, my old boss said, hey, are you still interested in buying the bar? And I said, well, we'll see if the price is right and I could get a business loan, I'm in. So we talked and I ended up going back to the bar that I worked at and I bought that one 8 years ago. So it was kind of bittersweet that I used to work there and I came back as the owner. So yeah, that's what I do. And instead of dealing with kids, I deal with adult kids.
It's hard. Like the education system in general, all around the world, sometimes we're studying these degrees, meanwhile working jobs to survive. But these degrees that might not necessarily, not every degree has, you know, like an immediate, like once you finish, you've immediately got a job in that
Yeah.
field. Some of them, it's really hard to get into, and it can be really expensive and time consuming. So I think taking such a leap like that, it's so scary, but so rewarding to be like, this is mine. I own this. I'm already doing kind of that job of running a business and actually being able to be like saying this is mine, and then being able to, you know, years later come back to the place where it began and be like, I'm coming back, but I actually own this now and I get to, I guess, also run it and put how you want business to be run into it as well, which I think is a big part of why people, you know, go into running their own businesses, because they might
Hmm.
see not necessarily businesses not run well, but kind of go, this is how I would do it to make it like the best it could possibly be.
That's 100% right. I worked in multiple bars, so I learned from every owner, ooh, that's not good, or hey, this is really great. And so when I was able to do it on my own, I got to kind of piece together what I thought was good and what I thought was bad. And like you said, it's like, okay, this is mine, this is my baby. So now I get to do it. And if anything goes wrong, it's on me, but at least I'm
Yeah.
able to do that. And yeah, so yeah, it was a huge leap. It was very, yeah, my parents were like, are you sure, you know, you have a degree and, you know, you should probably do this and da 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 da. And I said, yeah, but I'm not getting my foot in the door. And with PE, you have to wait for a teacher to die or retire because they coach till they're 80. So I should have got a minor in math or science and then started teaching that way and then got my foot in the door later. But nobody tells you that. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a PE teacher and I'm going to get a job and everything's going to be great. And it didn't work out that way. And so I think things happen for a reason. You know, I enjoy what I do. It's definitely not easy, and I know everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome! You own a bar," but it's definitely not as easy as people think. But it is nice to be your own boss, and it is nice to be able to do things knowing that if it doesn't work out, it's my fault. You know, I don't need to worry about anybody else doing anything or blaming anybody. It's my fault.
Yeah, it's good. And it's taking accountability, which is fantastic. And that's what you got to do when you're out on a Spartan race as well. You're taking accountability for every obstacle and what you're going through in life. Actually, it's probably a good parallelism, I would think. You talked about a few things, but what are some of the challenges that you've had and how have you overcome them?
I've always been a strong, I'm the oldest of four. My parents are immigrants. So I was the firstborn in the US. So my parents always taught me, you know, you're lucky to be born here. You're lucky to have the opportunities you have. Work hard, go to school, like no excuse. And I think that has definitely played a role in me being who I am today. You know, it was just go, go, go and try your best and don't settle. So I feel like I've always been that way. So when it comes to racing and stuff, that's helped. I'm very stubborn out there when it came to the harder races. And I think that's why I do well also with the ultras. Is I just, you know, I grind and I just go. And the death race too, I learned a lot. That was an emotional roller coaster. During COVID, I filed for divorce and kicked my husband out. So 2020 was a big year for me. Almost losing my businesses, realizing where I'm at in my life and where I shouldn't be in my life. And so that whole year was a big obstacle. And had it
Yeah.
not been for, my parents teaching me strength, and then I was jumping here and there doing hurricane heats because the US allowed it. We had to have 6-foot poles between us, but we made it work. Um, but that really those events brought me back to my why, and getting down in the middle of nowhere by yourself and struggling and just being in your head really helped me refocus and get myself back on track. And then in 2021, they announced the death race, and it was supposed to start on my wedding anniversary. And I said, "You've got to be kidding me. It's a sign." So 4 months before the death race, I signed up and I said, "I'm going to go out there and I'm going to die on that day. And it will never be known as my anniversary anymore. It's going to be known as the day I died and the day I reborn as a new person." So I went out there ready for anything. And I was scared, and that was a tough event. I tell everybody, you can't explain it. You will never be ready. You just have to go, and you have to be ready to just submit and just do it. So yeah, I mean, all of that growing up, how I am, don't give up, keep going, all of that helped. And Spartan brought it back out to help me get through everything that I've gone in the last 3.5 years. So that really pushed me to do what I've done in Spartan, was that little thing that just kept, all right, I can do more. I could do more. I could do more. Let's push the boundaries. So I'm very thankful for that.
Some big challenges, and hearing you have you gone through that and with the smile on your face through all that at the same time, I think that's just magnificent.
Everyone laughs and they would say, "How come at every event you're smiling? You're like struggling, but you're smiling." And I realized later that when I'm nervous, or I'm hurting and I'm in pain, I laughing and smiling is how I cope. I don't know why, but if I'm laughing, that doesn't mean I'm always having a good time. I don't know how to deal with the pain, or I'm trying to get out of the voices in my head. So I'm laughing, and I don't know, I guess it works. Everyone says when you laugh, we laugh, you make us feel better. So it's kind of funny, but yeah. So I'm
Excellent.
laughing, but I'm hurting.
Everyone copes in their own ways, and I guess in a way your way of coping also, I guess, brings joy to other people, which is sometimes what people need to see when they're just in general in life, both at races and just in everyday. Seeing somebody else, maybe struggling a little bit, but they've still got a smile on their face, it kind of makes
Yeah.
you go like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I mean, obviously, you were the first female Spartan to 100 career trifectas, but I have heard through the grapevine that you're trying to slow down a little bit this year. What does 2024 have in store for you?
I know this is such a hard, because the last 2 years I've been go, go, go. But actually in January was my official, I'm done with my divorce, completely done, like 100% over. And so I told myself I was going to slow down a little bit and, focus on other things. But I just keep looking at this schedule and I'm just like, oh, I haven't been here yet. Oh, they got a new ultra. Let's go over here. So it's really hard to slow down. Everyone's laughing, saying, well, your version of slowing down is the normal person's crazy year. And I said, okay, probably you're right. So I have no goals this year. There's nothing really set in stone. I'm hoping to hit my 50th lifetime ultra, maybe 55. We'll see. I keep seeing these ultras popping up, and I'm like, dang it. I went back to Bright.
Yes.
Bright, I was there in 2017. So this year was my first time back in Bright since then. So I had to do it.
It was great to see you at Bright as well.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really, and it's a good course. That was really, really good. I didn't do that. I did Mystic Mountain, I believe, on the other side in 2017. So this was a tough one, but it
That's
was
correct.
good.
Yeah, that's correct.
It was a good one.
Well, with the ultras and your aspirational ultras, I'm hoping to see you back in our region. We've got a next ultra will be in Fiji. Are you going to join us in Fiji?
Yeah, I have to go back to Fiji. So with Fiji, I was planning on staying a couple days after to really enjoy Fiji. And then all of a sudden, we got a cyclone coming. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? I was in Hawaii when they had the hurricane. I was like, no, not again. And
Yeah.
I had another race to be at that weekend, and I could not miss it or it was going to ruin my trifecta chasing. So I literally tried to change my flight last minute. And thank God I got on to get off the island so that I would be able to make it to the next race and not miss the trifecta. So I didn't get to see Fiji. I didn't really get to do anything. So it's on my list to come back, and I want to enjoy and really. So yes, Fiji is one of my ultras this year.
And with a clean new passport, you won't have any problems with immigration.
Yes. Oh man, that was so awesome. My passport picture has my trifecta braids. Oh, it was so awesome. The guy was really good. He's like, there's nowhere to stamp here. I can't let you in. And I'm like, you have to let me in. I'm here for a race. Don't worry, I'll leave. I promise I'll leave. And then he's like, no, you're really going to have to go to the American Embassy and you're going to have to get an emergency passport. And I'm like, okay. So he made me call. It was a holiday weekend. So they were like, well, we're closing early and we're not open Monday. So if you're leaving Tuesday, you need to come now by 3 o'clock. So I literally rented a car and drove all the way around the island, 3.5 hours to get my emergency passport. I got pulled over by the cops. And the cop knew about Spartan. He's like, why are you here? And I said, oh, I'm here for a Spartan race. And he goes, oh, yeah. And he named the location. And I was like, oh, wow, you know about Spartan? He goes, we've all been hearing about Spartan coming to Fiji. So he gave me a warning and let me go. So it was so nice of him. And then I got my emergency passport and I was allowed off the island. So it was a definite experience.
Look, as we wrap up, do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to share with us and our listeners?
Oh wow. I mean, besides everything I, already said about first time, and everyone has a journey. Everyone's on a different journey. I know it's really hard not to compare yourself to other people around you, but try not to, and try to focus on you, yourself, and your journey. It's really easy to get caught up and then start feeling bad or negative. And that's not what Spartan's about. You're there to feel good. You're there to do better. You're there to have fun, meet people, and learn from people. If somebody's there doing the obstacle better, you learn from them. Don't put yourself down. I know it's really easy to do that in society, especially with social media, just comparing yourself all the time to everybody. So go out there. You're on your own journey. Do your own thing. If you're trifecta chasing, plan ahead. Be careful with the non-refundable bookings versus the refundable bookings. You will get stuck with last minute changes that you should be ready about. Don't, be mindful. If you're going to spend a couple, 100,000 or not 100,000, $100 to $1,000 on airfare, is it worth to pay a little bit more to make sure it's refundable? I know going to Australia is not cheap, or for you guys to come to the US, I mean, is paying an extra $50, $80 as a guarantee better than losing $2,000? Yeah. So if you're trifecta chasing, be smart. It's a huge community. You'll make friends, share a hotel, share car rentals. I have an air mattress. I'll sleep on the floor. I sleep in the bathtub. I've slept in the car. You do what you can to make it work, and you have fun. That's what stories are all about. So, trifecta chasing is fun. You'll meet people, and keep tabs on those people from all over the world, because you never know when you're going to be there. And you're like, hey, you want to share a car? So, and I would totally recommend that if you're going to trifecta chase. Get to know your people, post on the page, and have fun. And you got to do at least one destination race every year. Make it a racecation. Pick a country
Yeah.
and do it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Hey, Tori. So I've asked a lot of questions. So any questions from you here at the end?
Not so much a question, more so just thank you so much for taking the time to come on and to chat to us and our listeners. I think I've learned a lot that I will be taking away, putting into my own practices, preparing for the Gold Coast race in June, which I am very much so looking forward to. But yeah, I guess just thank you so much for being so open and candid and sharing so much with us. I know how much it's going to help me, so I can only imagine how much it will help other people listening, and hopefully inspire some other people to kind of just get involved and to just do it. I think that's like the best piece of advice I've ever been told, just in general in life, is to just do it. It's scary and it's hard and it can hurt, but to just do it, because otherwise you just don't know what you're capable of. So thank you so much for taking the time and having this chat with us.
Yay, I'm excited for you. Can't wait to see and read all about it. You're going to do great. You're going to do great.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to try. The goal is to make it to the end, preferably without crying. But if crying happens, that's okay.
That's the best part. That means you did something and you pushed yourself. So it's okay to cry.
No, amazing. Well, also, please tell our listeners, where can they find you and follow you and learn more about you and follow your journey?
Yeah. So I still got to catch up and post my last year's journey. But yes, I'm on Instagram, and it's yada yada yada. So you can find me there. Last name is Alves if you can't find yada yada yada. So it's Yara and then Alves. And anybody have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm constantly answering inboxes with people asking, and I have no problem sharing advice because I know what it's like not to have advice. So it's nice to be able to give advice and help people conquer and do what they need to do. They need sometimes that little push, that little person to just say, you should try it. So I'm here.
Look, I look forward to seeing you overseas when I'm overseas. I know I'll see you in Greece, and can't wait to see you over here in Fiji.
I will see you there.
Welcome back, warriors, to the debrief of our wonderful episode that we just spoke to, Yara Alves, who was just a phenomenal person. What a phenomenal presence she has. I mean, I don't know about you, Russ. I got so much out of that episode with Yara. I could have spoken to her for a lot longer than we did. She had some phenomenal things today and some phenomenal advice as well. I think one of the big things that I took away from it is not comparing myself to other people, and that my journey, everyone has their own journey to getting to wherever you are in life, and that there is so much that you can take from Spartan to kind of imbue in your everyday as well.
Everything you've said, I agree. Not comparing yourself against others, going out and giving everything a hard crack, doing in your best, that achievement that you have afterwards, hearing some of the challenges that she's had in life and what got her into Spartan, and even going through the time of pandemic where a lot of people that were running businesses had challenges. Spartan gave her that fuel, gave her that fire. And Spartan is what kept her going through that time of the pandemic and then back into it. And other personal challenges that she had in life. And what we've got through a lot of the themes in our podcast so far to date is that the challenges that you actually have in everyday life can reconcile to what actually Spartan can do for you. Fuels a fire, gives you passion, gives you a goal. Putting something on the calendar makes you work for something. Getting through that adversity, getting to the other side. And to me, the interview with Yara just actually exemplified getting through those challenges, just like getting through a Spartan race and that achievement afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good to, I feel like Spartan can give you a kind of constant in life as well, if that makes sense. Like I know for me, I'm an actor, I deal with a lot of rejection in my life, and I don't necessarily always have something that I'm working towards or in rehearsals for. And so far for me, having the daily routine of going out and training for my first race is this like really nice constant. I know that there's always that in my day that I can look forward to, and it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that I look forward to the training now, and I look forward to, you know, my dad and we go out, and it's a great time for us to connect, and just for me to kind of be away from my office, be away from everything else, and just be focusing on that training and what I'm doing in that moment. And I'm taking that mindset that Yara spoke about not comparing yourself to other people around you, even though it's really hard to do. It's really hard to not compare yourself to, you know, where I am in life, where I am in my training. Am I as prepared as other people? But just taking the small victories that I have, you know, every additional kilometer and every additional squat that I do in every day of my training is such a big win, because I truly never thought that I would even consider doing that. And I think that it's so important to take those little wins and acknowledge your achievements along the way as well.
Yeah, look, and staying on that same theme, I found myself when I'm out racing, sometimes you get so enwrapped into the race itself, you forget to step back and look at where you're at. You know, that's the point I think about, you know, maybe not comparing yourself to other people. So it's about getting out, not just getting through the challenges, but also enjoying the race and being able to be at the top of the hill. And whether it be in Hawaii or Fiji, or it could be in Sparta, or it could be in bright Victoria, be able just to say, oh my gosh, how lucky I am to be here and to be part of this event, be in this beautiful atmosphere that we call Spartan, or be in this beautiful location, wherever that location might be. And I try to do that when I can. And sometimes I forget about it. Yara's interview made me remember that you've got to take time to really sit back and enjoy what you have. One of the comments that she made, what I thought was interesting, I'll use the word interesting, was that, you know, every time I see her, it would be on an ultra race, it could be anywhere in the world, she always has a smile on her face. And she told us, you know, in the podcast that the smile might be a different image. But to me, that smile that I see from Yara, and I pass her on the course, I always get a high five from her. It's just also gives me that bit more of enthusiasm to get there and going. And having someone that's actually completed well over 100 trifectas and hitting the record last year, to me is just that in its own right gives me more push to want to push myself further. And what I'm hoping is seeing her on the circuit, both here in Australia, seeing her globally, pushes other people. It doesn't matter about if they're going for an elite podium finish, if they're going for their very first race. She's actually setting the bar of what it means to be a Spartan, getting out and giving it your all and not comparing yourself against others.
No, absolutely. And she does. She has this energy about her as well that, whether directly or not, makes you want to do your best. Because I feel like, if Yara can do it, and if she believes in me, I can do it. I could do anything if, like, seeing that smile and talking to her, and just the energy that she brings to only what I consume is to everything in her life. I'm like, that makes me think that it makes me believe that I can do this and that I'm capable of anything. And I think, like she was saying, doing this, and even just in the training of doing this so far, has made me feel like I am much more capable of doing more than I ever thought I was really capable of. And so I really appreciate her giving that insight and really just helping to cement in my mind that I'm capable of doing this. And I hope for other people listening, also that mentality that we've had through a couple of our interviews so far, of just do it. Just get out there and do it. Don't let the the training or the lead up to it bog you down. Just getting out there and doing that is an achievement in and of itself. And you can do it. Just try, that's the biggest thing, is just giving everything a red hot crack. And being afraid of failure, it's a big thing, and I think it's okay to be afraid of it, but push past that and just give it a try, because you just don't know what will happen and what you're capable of until you try.
Oh, agreed. And I think for all of our listeners, if you're not looking at some of our other social channels, make sure you see some of Tori's training. We have it on our endurance page and our Spartan page. You can see that Tori is out there in the mornings. Doesn't matter if it's sunny, if it's rainy, if it's dark. She's out there training for a Spartan race. And so everything that she's saying, and I can tell you 100%, it's happening. Evidence is on our channel. So check us out on our Instagram channel, on our endurance channel, Facebook channels. We can see Tori's training in stride, getting ready for the Gold Coast Sprint. I cannot wait to see you out on the course, Tori.
No, I absolutely cannot wait. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Like Russell said, please check out all of our other channels. Please give us a rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and give us a thumbs up on YouTube. But until next time, stay strong, warriors, and we will see you then.